wanting to make this recipe for you guys for a long time. This is Grasshopper cake from BraveTart, which I've cooked from before. Many great dessert American recipes in there, but a Grasshopper cake is a devil's food peppermint cake. And this is one of the best things to take to a party or to a fancy event where you're expected to bring a dessert. Every single time you'll get a, oh, what is that? That looks amazing. It's got Oreo, it's got peppermint, it's got tea, it's got chocolate, it's got everything. So we're gonna go through it here. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna melt 3 sticks of butter. And we're just gonna get that completely liquid before we move on. While the butter is continuing to melt, we're gonna go ahead and add in a 1.5 cups of peppermint tea. This is just a regular Twinings peppermint tea bag that I let steep for a long time in a 1.5 cups of hot water. And this is gonna obviously infuse a lot of peppermint flavor into this devil's food cake. We've got a nice smooth dark chocolate sauce now. So we're gonna put in 2 cups of brown sugar. And then we're gonna put in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then also you're gonna need some peppermint extract. And the recipe says about 3/4 of a teaspoon. I don't tend to measure extracts. They tend to do a pretty good job. So I'm gonna eyeball that and do about that of peppermint extract. And then now we're just gonna whisk it once again until it's smooth. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And now that the butter tea mixture is melted, we're going to take it off of the heat and immediately put in 6 ounces of mint flavored dark chocolate, as well as a cup of cocoa powder. And then just swirl that together. The chocolate's going to melt from that hot butter tea until you get a smooth mixture. All right, now we're going to put in about 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. And we want 6 eggs cold straight from the fridge, and you want to be pretty quick here. So we're going to put these in, as well as 3 additional egg yolks. That's going to make this batter nice and rich. And then immediately start incorporating that. And once again, we're going to whisk it until all of this is incorporated together. Just want to show you how much thicker this sauce has gotten with the addition of those eggs. That's going to make this cake also be super moist, which is what we want in a devil's food cake. So now we're going to add in our baking soda, as well as 2 cups of sifted flour. And once again, we're just going to beat all of this together until we get a smooth batter. We're ready to bake our cakes. I've got these 8-inch cake pans that I've put a liner in, as well as greased the sides of, and we're going to distribute this batter equally amongst all 3. Then we're going to pop these in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. This is a devil's food cake, not a white cake or a yellow cake, so it's not going to spring up. It's going to be quite dense, and that's the way we want it. The cake will be pretty tall, but not the same as some of the other layer cakes that you see out there. Just a quick note, I filled my 3 cake pans. I used my kitchen scale to measure, and I got them all to approximately 36 ounces. So if you're making this and following along, you should get approximately that same amount in your cake pans. The milk chocolate frosting is super easy, and it's just 3 ingredients. So we're going to get started by boiling 3 cups of heavy cream. We don't actually want to get it to a hard boil. We just want to get it to where it's simmering around the edges. And in the meantime, go ahead and get 3 3/4 cups of milk chocolate in a stand mixer bowl. The milk is at the right temperature now, so we're going to go ahead and just pour that in over our chocolate chips. Now we're just going to whisk this together until we get a smooth chocolate sauce. Now, once we get this smooth chocolate sauce, we're going to put this in the refrigerator for 6 hours, or alternatively, you can submerge it in an ice bath and mix it, and in that case, it'll come together in only about 1 hour. So I'm going to do the ice water bath method, and this is essentially just getting it submerged in cold ice water and continually whisking. I don't mean like continually as in the entire time, but every once in a while just come by and stir it to make sure that it stays smooth like this until it gets, you want internal temperature of this frosting to be about 45 degrees before we move on to the next step. The frosting is now to room temperature, and we're going to put on this whisk attachment. And we're just going to beat this on high until it gets to the consistency that we want of icing or frosting. Should be about 120 seconds and not too much longer than that. And that's the consistency we want of a nice thick chocolate frosting. So we're gonna head on over and ice the cake now. Now we're just gonna do standard cake icing procedures. We've got one layer down on our turntable, and we're just gonna put a dollop of chocolate frosting on there, and then use our cake knife to spread that around, and then put the next layer on top of that. And then we'll do the same thing, spreading the icing along the sides, and I'll show you guys what this process looks like when it's done. I finished icing the cake, and if you're following along, you can definitely stop here. The rest of this is just sort of optional garnish that I'm doing, but I've gone ahead and I've chopped up 20, these are peppermint Oreos because it just happens to be the time of year that they sell these, but generally speaking, any type of Oreo will be fine. Just put it in a food processor and mash it up until it's crumbs. And then we're just going to press this along the sides of the cake so that we get a nice cookie crumb. And it's going to be a little messy, so be ready to clean up the crumbs afterwards. But just go along, use your cake turner there to press it along until you get a nice thick coating along the sides of the cake. And then we'll be up for the final step. So I went ahead and cut some of the sandwich cookies in half and used them as the absolute final garnish there. And now our cake is done. So you can see why this is an attractive, popular cake, especially because I'm not a baker or a pastry chef. I'm just a guy, a home cook using cookbooks. I feel like this is a pretty good job for that. So, but the proof in this is always in the cutting. So we're going to cut a slice here. And this is a big old chunker of a slice, obviously, but it's just for illustration purposes. I'm probably not going to eat a slice this big. Okay. And look at that. I'm in a little bit of a mess here, but I'll pull it up so you guys can see better. So you can see how nice and dense those layers are. You can smell the mint coming off of it, and it's just got lots of chocolatey flavor. So if mint chocolate is, if you're a Thin Mints fan, or if you like just the mint chocolate combination, mint chocolate chip ice cream, try this cake out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, and I think you'll be a big hit with everyone that you make it for. So if you enjoy these videos, I've got a ton of other American videos that you can look through on the American playlist. And if you enjoy my videos in general, please like and subscribe and check out all the content.